So in this first video, we'll talk about our scene setup and also import our car model and add some features to it already. Now, in your project, you have a scene called Start Scene, which already contains this track that was created using the Unity's terrain tool. We're not going to go over the creation of the model because I believe that working with the terrain tool is little bit out of scope for these videos, but of course you can find a lot of content about how to work with terrain tool in Unity. We'll start with our track already created. The next thing I did in the scene was add a finish line box collider that is a trigger, which will control, of course, when our player finishes the lap. But to avoid, so let's say my cursor is the car, and when I start the game, I cross the finish line, and as I cross the finish line, I start my lap time. To prevent the player from going over the finish line, just going around and over the finish line again for a lap time of 5 seconds. We also add some checkpoints in my scene. So I have these another starting gate models which came from the browser. So if you look for starting gate, you'll see here this another starting gate. So I have one here, I have another one on the other side of the track, and one more here, and one more that I forgot to delete that I'm going to delete right now. So these will serve as intermediary checkpoints, meaning that I will have to cross these in order to count a lap time. Now, before we import our vehicle, I will also go on my project settings, on the time settings, and I'm going to change the time scale to 1.5. So that means that every 1 second of my game will be equivalent of 1.5 seconds in real time. And I'm doing that because playing around with physics, which is Unity's physics engines, I feel like the inertia, if I use timescale 1, the inertia is too heavy, and putting timescale 1 for 1.5, the game have a more arcadey feeling, and that's what I'm aiming for. I'm not aiming for a hyper-realistic physics simulation here. Look from an arcade experience. That's why I'm setting timescale to 1.5. That done, let's look for our car. So I'm going to look for a car in the browser, and I want to use this Lamborghini here. Clicked on it. I'm going to import it to my game. Here it is. And I'm going to place it on my finish line. Let's just place it here. There you go. Here's my car, and here's my finish line. I'm just going to move it a little bit behind the finish line, something like here, and a little bit above the ground. Okay, unparent it, and I'm going to call it car. Good. Now I'm going to add the engine audio source to my car, so I'm going to add an audio source to my car parent game object. I want to play on awake. I want it to loop, and I'm going to bring it to the project. You already have it in your project if you got the project. I'm going to bring this sound effects folder, and I'm going to set my audio clip audio source to engine, which is, as the name says, my engine sound. And for now, I'm going to leave everything as default, and I'm going to add a couple more empty child game objects to my model: a brake light left and a brake light left and a brake light right. Okay, let's position them in the proper place. Move it up and back. I think over here, a little bit lower. Oh, way too forward. And I think that's good enough. And we're going to add to it a light. And that's going to be a red light. Brilliant. Actually, let's make our life easier and then delete the right light. I'm going to duplicate my left right, and then I just simply need to position it on the other side. Oh, actually a little bit more. Yeah, definitely around here. It's doesn't have to be perfect. That's good enough for our purpose. Great. Now I'm going to add a couple of audio sources, which are going to be screech left, and I'm going to position it around here. It doesn't have to be perfect, and this is going to be an audio source that is going to play my screeching sound. Now duplicate this screech left, name it to screech right, and position it on the other side of the car. There you go. So with that done, in the next video we will do the wheel colliders and configure the wheel colliders of our car.